busting metropolitan area, and it's just like the only car we met was a Kansas City PD car. I'm like, wow, this is kind of weird. So,
All right, thank you, Cody.
Yep.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order, and there were no decisions made in the executive session.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Eddie,
Morning,
you are up, buddy.
everybody. Is it safe to get this close?
Yeah,
You
maybe.
got your mask on, we'll let you.
We got a plastic screen we can put up real quick. I'll get it out. So, got some questions, I guess, on what needs to come out of what fund. Last year we spent $38,000 on a boiler and some things, and that came out of our 6 mil equivalent. And you said, no, that should come out of the county general?
No, it should come out of your
Operating expense.
the capital.
But how's that capital gonna be funded in the future?
Well, what's left over in your 6 mils,
Yeah, what's left over,
equivalent to 6 mils.
right, what we've set up is whatever's left over from the
Will
equivalent of the
automatically
6 mils,
roll in.
it'll roll over to a capital improvement.
Okay, very good. But in, a year ago, see, we had $40,477 that was supposed to roll forward,
Right,
and I can't find that it did. Year-end transfer on the, end of July, I don't know, that's when you did year-end transfers for 19, but anyway, they transferred 24,207, but I don't know from where. But that doesn't match my number of 40,477.
and that's what should have, because we've got a resolution in regards to carrying that over for capital improvement.
But
because
the
we
numbers,
double-checked.
don't match, is
Right,
what I'm
and
saying.
I can't answer that.
And
There's not a
she
person
does-
sitting here that can.
And she won't. She told me that last time.
Yeah, I know.
He witnessed that. And so I don't know what you do. Talk to the auditor when he comes. I mean, it's $20,000 that I try to keep track of some of those things, but, so, anyway, I don't know what you suggest.
Did we set
The
up a line item
approved-
for it?
The approved transfer was $24,207.
Well, that doesn't match my numbers, but.
Because what happens is, when it comes to year-end transfers, we send it to the auditors, and the auditors send out the amounts, right, Scott? As to what's left per budget authority to be transferred.
Okay, very good. Now, we've got some projects that were approved a year ago and have not been finished yet because of the COVID. So there's $11,890 that were approved that are not going to be done this year again. So I don't know what we're supposed to do with that.
Anything left over is gonna roll over into the
Yeah,
capital
should
improvement.
go.
Okay,
It's good for budget authority.
so the answer, Rod, is roll
Roll
over and
over.
go back to sleep. So this printout that I handed out, that's the stuff marked in yellow on that first page. That is COVID-related expense, and which we've got covered. And it shows on page 2, which would be the back side of that page 1 that you have. And so that shows the amount of money that we've got as COVID funds. And so you can see we've documented 330,000. And so we're over 32,000 on that because we want to be sure we used it all. And so they've kept this all documented to be sure that that it doesn't end up alone. You know, because if you don't document how it was spent. you're gonna have to pay it back. So that's a little concerning because this shows September through October, and so wages alone at traveling nurse stuff, for those 2 months, it was $85,000 a month. And so going forward, if this continues 12 more months, that's $1 million. It's scary. And, but I just wanted you to be aware of what these projected numbers are going to look like if it stays the way it is, and nobody knows. And then on the other side, where the blue is marked, that's lost revenue, and you can see the trend line. It was 18,000, then 25,000, and then October it was $68,000. Well, you know, that's because of less occupancy. And so if you take that October number of 68,000 times 12 months, that's $800,000 a year lost revenue. And then down on the assisted living, you can see that line, it's $7,600 in October. So you take that times 12, that's almost another 100,000. And so these numbers are scary, they really are. But and then in the pink, it's hazard pay that they paid in September and October. And so if they have to do that again, we don't know what that's going to be, because that averaged $8,000 a month for those 2 months.
And the hazard pay is,
Well, they had to pay an extra $8 an hour to get people to work, and that was industry-wide. That's what everybody was doing. You had to do that to get them to work.
and this for traveling? Or
No,
Everybody.
hospital,
Everybody.
nursing homes all across the state.
So that was just
Probably the
standard.
Okay.
So you take that averaged $8,000 a month, so guess what? 12 months projected there, that's another $100,000. So the numbers are scary.
If the trends remain the same.
Yes, yes.
But our hope is to,
Well, absolutely, but I just want you to know.
geez, and the sad part is, they got you.
I mean, we have no control over any of
Yeah.
this, so I don't know if there's any other questions on those numbers. And then on the back page, it shows our account balance of $447,000, and that looks like a tremendous amount, but not,
Not when you're looking at the front page.
yeah, so.
So how many empty units do we have?
Well, we had 8, we were short 2 rooms in assisted living, and we were short 8, we were short 9 residents in long-term care. But, so it was 21 over there instead of 30. But they, our last meeting, which was
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Thank you, Rod. You know, they thought they were going to get several more in. But, you know, right now, people don't want to bring their family.
Sure. Yeah, because they're not going to be able to see them.
And so that's, I just thought from day one, if we had a waiting list, we were on easy street.
Well, I think we were under that impression too.
Doesn't work that way. Because that was my goal, to have a waiting list on both sides of the street. And that's not, didn't turn out to be the complete answer, obviously. But nobody
times are
saw
tough.
this coming.
Yeah. You know, normalcy is something we're all after. When that's going to happen, who knows? But yeah, you're right. Those are scary numbers. And to give you a definitive answer how to fix it, probably not going to find that here.
But I do have a suggestion, and maybe, and unless this really involves you and Scott, because we had the COVID funding, because, we actually was able to use government money to pay a lot of the expenses. That's the reason we've got this amount of account. My question is, I think historically, whatever was left in that account had to roll back into the general fund.
We've changed, it should be rolling into a capital improvement. But what you have to understand is that when we do these year-end transfers, that information is sent to the auditor.
Yeah.
The auditor looks at the budget and accounts and such and makes a determination as to what is specifically
Yeah.
transferred over per budget authority. And then that is the amount that is transferred.
Okay, and so what my proposal would be if we could keep these funds, because we don't know whether we're gonna need them, rather than roll them into a general fund. You see what I'm saying?
The 400,000.
Now, I come from a corporate world, not a government world, so in the corporate world, that's what you do. You'd say, well, we'll probably need this money, let's just leave it in this account, whether we can do that or not.
You're saying rather than. But it's not just a general account, it is for the
Improvements
TDC or
for,
the, whatever you want to call it.
But can it pay wages and can it,
No.
see, that's what, we need that cushion, and I don't know how to get it otherwise.
You're saying put it in there now rather than come back and ask for, put it in. and come back and
Or
ask
even
for
if
it.
it'll become available, because, you see, that's the scary part to me, because I kinda suspected what you's gonna give me the answer.
sorry, that's,
But you
That's
see what I'm
fair.
saying, from a business standpoint, you'd say, gosh, because we've been able to utilize COVID money, thank goodness. We've got this much money that really was designated for the nursing home and for the assisted living. And if we can have access, if an emergency, if we can have access to that.
That's what your equipment reserve was set up for.
no, that's, equipment reserve is only improvements,
Yeah.
not
That's
wages.
true.
So that's scary because you can see what our labor is one of the biggest issues going forward. And being able to fund that. So, as long as you get this figured out before January 3rd or 4th or whenever you vacate the building.
Quickly as I can.
And does any of you have some suggestions? Maybe we're not looking at it right. See, Roger, what I'm saying? It's money that's there. It's just, would be any suggestions you might have on how we can?
I don't think there's any legal way around it.
So what will we do if we need money? Can you, like in January, or and say in July, if we need funds, you take it out of the general? How do you?
You can't take out a general.
Where will it come from?
Like under 6 mil.
All you've
Well,
got is
this is the 6 mil. See, this is the six.
It's gonna come next year's.
Yeah, that's what I'm
6
saying,
million.
but you see here, this is, because we had money to spend, using COVID money, this is that 6 mil money that we was able to save the county.
Well, you just substituted the COVID money for.
Yeah, and so we still have that county monies there. You see what I'm saying, Roger? It's, yeah,
Well, I understand what you're saying, and I feel sorry for it. I mean, we want to keep it running it. But if you don't spend the 6 mil, it comes back to the county.
yeah, I know, that's what I'm
And that's
saying.
the way it is.
I
That's the
know.
way it was set up, and we can't do anything about it.
Okay,
I understand. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I thought you said it would roll over.
It'll roll over to the
Capital
capital improvements.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't pay wages out of capital improvements.
That's just the way the contract was set up. That's the way the people voted on it.
well, now this would be not the one we voted on. This is the one, the Good Samaritan, that fund. The one we voted on was building.
We voted on the 6 mils.
Yeah, for
building.
For building, it was for the building.
Pay-
Roger.
to pay the bond.
This is the other account.
But we voted on that a long time
Oh,
ago.
did you? Oh, I don't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we voted.
Yeah, we did.
We voted the same thing twice. We voted, it was bond money that they voted on in November of 2011. And then we had a second vote again.
But when Good Sam said they
Yeah.
were gonna close the doors, the county didn't wanna close it, and we took it over and voted
Did you?
to put in 6 mills.
It's
6
six,
mil
the
equivalent.
vote was 6 mills to build and remodel.
Yeah.
Then when the lease agreement was drafted, somehow someone got the idea that there were 2 6 mills that were voted on, and there was only 1 6
Yeah.
mill.
That's right.
So they had the equivalent of 6 mills for operating.
Too bad one of those wasn't 5.9. It
So,
would solve a lot of
yeah,
confusion.
it is confusing, but the way in which it is set up is it's basically a use it or lose it type deal when it comes to that equivalent of 6 mills, other than for the way in which it's set up, whereby what is left over should be going over to capital improvements.
Well, I know Good Sam, when they were running it, they used all 6 mills.
They, but,
Plus.
yeah,
And when it was gone October 1, they pulled out of town. They didn't even finish their contract.
we just need some help here. We might need, you know, it could be that it'll all flow and things will settle down, and like you say, it's an unknown, but it's not that people don't want to come to the nursing home, but would you put a relative in there knowing you couldn't come and visit them?
Yeah.
And so there's people that say, yeah, I want to do it, but not under these conditions.
We've got a problem,
Yeah,
because by law, we can't give you money to run
yeah.
it.
Well, if
We'll
the
just have to
doors,
stumble through it the best way we
if the
can.
doors are closing in 3 months, then we'll do it today. We just will have Merry Christmas.
Oh, I don't
On our
think
part.
so. So,
All right.
Well,
but think about it, and I'm sure there's other counties that are going through the same process. I didn't realize, because see, the mills we voted on, when I've been involved, was for capital improvement, that was the bill. And to do that, the other one was already set up in advance of that. And somehow those have got blended somehow, it sounds to me
No,
like it.
they
I mean, not
do not.
blended, but the way,
Misunderstood.
the way it's worded,
No.
it can only go for operations.
Is there a way to relax that the people can come in and see their family if they're brought in?
Well, I
I
don't
don't think we want to do that quite yet.
Liability.
Yeah, let's not.
They did that for a period of time, but then, then when more cases, well, they had to back off. So they're just kind of going by state
But you
recommendation.
have to remember that this is leased
Yeah, it's
to
not
a
ours.
private corporation.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
like any other business in Cheyenne County. Just so happens that the county owns the property and has leased it and set up provisions whereby here's what the county will do to help operate this facility. But it's just like any other business, other than the fact that the county owns it, operating in Cheyenne County.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time, everybody.
Thank you, sorry.
Well, I would hope that now with the vaccine, maybe the country will drop this hazardous pay.
Well, and the hazardous pay is not happening right now. That went on for 2 months
It's over with.
Yeah.
for right now, but it could be reinstated at any time.
And who makes that decision?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now where I'm sitting, I feel kind of hazardous.
Yeah.
Got to ignore money.
And like I said, if you do hear of it, because other counties might be going through the same thing, if you hear of any solutions, well, please let us know, because obviously you're gonna give us money in January to operate, but, we don't want to be down the road here and say, gosh,
Yeah, but no one possesses that crystal ball to
no,
see your needs in July.
yeah,
Because,
Terry, back to that hazardous pay, that was related directly to these traveling nurses. Because you either paid that $8 hazard pay or you didn't get them.
So really,
That's how
the
that
agencies
happened.
that employ these nurses, they're the ones that said, hey, you're gonna
You're
pay
gonna-
us
yeah.
more money
And we had to have them,
if you want them to come.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's where that came from.
And they're probably the ones that brought it in.
Who knows? Somebody did.
Well, thank you guys, and yeah, we'll do the best we can for you, as always. We're just kind of hand-tied right now, and
Yes, but New Year's just around
To
the
Eddie's
corner.
first question, so this, that was approved last year, this 11, I wrote it down there. So we can go ahead with that. This 11,000 that was approved, do we need to have another vote on that?
That was a construction project,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well,
Well, you haven't
it's,
spent the money yet.
No.
no,
We're gonna lose.
no.
It's gonna go into capital improvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
Because
got-
you got 24,000 and it was transferred from last year.
That 11 will go over into
Which they,
capital improvements, is that correct?
So it'll be available.
Should be, I mean, you didn't spend it this year.
Okay. I didn't know.
See,
that.
part of that is drainage issues that we're gonna be taking care of.
stuff that's already been approved, basically.
Yeah. how
Yeah,
it's been
it
worked.
has been, it has been. And trust me, I wish that stuff would I would rather have all these numbers flow through my spreadsheets rather than just
Yeah,
regurgitating.
clog it up.
And I have one last thing, and I promise the last thing. Because we have, and nothing personal here, but we don't have much cooperation with the department across the hall here. And so on these numbers, I think in the future, Scott, if your office can provide Eddie the numbers, the actual, we'll have to use you as a.
Can't.
You did.
You
I
can't.
mean, Trish has tried to get people, because treasurer's still in April, into April, 1st of May, to find out whether people, what they could spend at the end of the year. Trish has helped them, with that report in April and what they've spent since then, but that's all we know.
Because it's really handicapping, Eddie, because if you don't have accurate numbers, it's hard to.
It's handicapped everything.
Well,
Yeah.
and one example of that is that transfer for 24,000 that was done, year-end transfer for 2019, and it was done in the end of July.
Which I'd like to
That's
know what was
bizarre.
reported to the auditors,
Yeah.
because
Well,
that,
Yeah, that should be the same amount.
but when you're 6, 7 months behind, it's futile for me to try to get numbers.
Well, you and every other entity in this county.
Supposed to be true.
So, it's very frustrating, but she said I was supposed to get it from Shred, so she shouldn't have been giving it to me anyway. The last conversation I had with her.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I heard that. And, somewhere we gotta have the source that we, if you say this is what we got to spend, we need to know. Somebody's gotta tell us what we got.
okay. I think this would be helpful to Eddie, because this shows what was there and what was spent and then what was transferred. But the question is, was there a capital improvement that was taken out of that equivalent that should have come out of something different? I think therein lies the question.
Thank you, Roger.
The first one's your budget, the second one is what you spent, and then the third is what was transferred.
So it's looking like to me that something came out of the,
And I have a copy of this.
That's your copy.
Thank you. I'll go home and dig through those numbers.
And that's from the auditor.
Okay, thank you. I'll see what I can do to match what's happened on this page.
perfect.
All right, thank you, Eddie.
We won't raise the red flag completely, Roger. We'll just gradually start.
I understand.
The white flag, I surrender.
I just know our hands are tied. like
I
yours are.
know.
Well,
And
thanks.
there's money. That's the sad thing about it. Can't be used.
It's the main wheel.
We're gonna limp out of here then. Good luck, guys.
You guys want to sign that right quick? Did you fix that?
Good morning, Dave. Good morning. I think we're ready for you guys.
Well, Devin and I are here to represent the Airport Commission, and we did have a commission meeting on December the 1st, and I'm going to pass those minutes out.
Thank you.
There, sorry,
Willie?
in there.
Good.
So, everything is good at the airport. I mean, finally, now that the runway is open again, we did have a big project to improve. We had some cracks, you know, we talked all about this project.
It is open?
It's open. It opened Friday.
Good, so
So
now
how
we
long
can,
did that have to set up before they could? I mean, is it
Well,
6
see, the
weeks
main
or-
thing, they run cement a month ago, but what they were doing was putting in the side drains, you know, so that the water that comes off of the runway runs down into a, kind of like on a tarp type thing, down into a sand kind of container that goes into a pipe and then runs out into it diverts the water away from the runway so it doesn't seep back under, freeze and heave.
To prevent what we had to replace in the first place.
Right, and so that was what really took so long, but, you know, their time period was 25 working days, which, you know, you add the weekends with that, it seemed like forever, but,
No, so it must have been close to 30 days they had to wait before they could land a plane on it then.
oh, yeah.
It was probably close. They got the concrete done first, and then it's been several weeks since they got that done. So
Yeah. So anyway, all is well there. The good part is this is a $750,000 project. Local funds were 10%, so it was a 90-10 project. Because of COVID, the government came in and they said, we're going to pay for the whole thing. So, you know, I would say we just got good news for you.
you're the first, let me tell you.
So that is totally paid by the government.
Maybe I had to hire him working.
We should have had it first, is what we should have.
So, and just so you know, this doesn't just automatically happen that it gets paid for. When Scott has to do what they call a Delphi drawdown, so that when we write the check back to Olson and the contractor, we get the money from the government through this Delphi drawdown. So then Scott or the treasurer, whoever does the payment, that the money is there and ready to be paid.
Do you know when that's gonna come through?
The Delphi or it's ready now.
I haven't received anything, so I'm just.
Well, you won't receive it, it's just there at the government, ready to be paid. So when you get a bill, then do a Delphi drawdown, and then it all fits into place. And so then, the one thing we do have to watch is, so when the money does come from the FAA or from the state for an airport project, that money gets put back into the capital improvement fund for the airport. So, and I try to watch for that when we have money coming back in. I get a hold of Dolores and say, hey, we got money coming in, that needs to go to so if you can help us all watch for that so that it gets diverted into the right location. So that's number one on my list. Number two is they had COVID money available to buy anything that was needed for the airport, and we had voted to get a 15-foot mower to mow the runways and taxiways taxiways, so that you know it would be there. It would always have sharp blades. It wouldn't be mowing the ditch and whatever. So anyway, that was a COVID thing, 100% paid for by the FAA. So it's here. I think
That check, now?
yeah. Okay.
Mailed out today.
So there's two items that are totally paid for.
A lawnmower could be used as COVID?
Excuse me?
A lawnmower could be used.
It was like a
Yes.
stimulus project for just to get money out to people, I think, and it was for operating expenses. It was airport specific grant. It was kind of use it or lose it type deal.
Right.
So.
And it was a $20,000 maximum for our airport, so we were able to get that, and so now we got another asset at the airport that will be, used, and it'll always be ready to go. We don't have a tractor, but we've got a mower.
Well, a third of the way home.
Okay, number 3 is the airport applied, and we had talked to you guys about this earlier, we actually thought we had these funds available through the state, but they weren't. When we talked to them, they weren't available, so we applied for a grant for 3 items. One was the ramp lighting, which we talked about, voted, it's all approved and everything, but I wanted to let you know that was on this state grant. That's a 90-10. The second item, which we need to ask you to approve, is a taxiway extension to the east for the Stratton Co-op Equities hangar. And this is approximately 300 foot of taxiway to the east, 25 foot wide, 300 foot. Then the Stratton Co-op will come off of that taxiway to get to their leased property, go through their building and come out the other end and use it that way. So that is also approved through the state. Let's see, money will be available on that in springtime.
Yeah, May usually is when they approve it, right?
Right,
Yeah.
April, May type period, yeah. And that was an estimated cost on that of $175,000. So local would be $17,500.
When are they gonna start construction, have you heard?
They signed a lease, but I don't think we know.
No, we don't. There's a lot of work got to be done before they can start. There's got to be a lot of fill work and a culvert put in there. It's a pretty extensive deal. So.
I think you guys gave them 3 years to get it done. Right?
And then, of course, first we got to get our road access that, have Dave put that in there. He knows about it. So it's just a timing thing for that. So we're okay on the ramp lighting. We need to ask for an okay on the taxiway extension. The other thing, the 3 things that we applied for, we got 2 of them from the state. The third one we did not get, and which this is it's a needed thing, and it's from the taxiway. They're going to the east. The taxiway, there's a short area that we need to extend the taxiway to the west to do 2 things, and that's to access and kind of an overflow parking area south of the ramp, and also to be able to taxi across into the buffalo grass. There is a access to the runway that comes off of the runway, but that's the only way to access this grass area south of the ramp. But if there's
Is that past where the ambulance comes in? The air?
it would
To
be
south.
it would go to the south of there,
Okay.
and then turn and go to the west. The thing that's real convenient, if we're kind of limited on going from the ramp area to get to the runway there, and if somebody has landed, say, we're going to have more spray planes going out here this year. This year and next year, probably maybe 5 possible.
Yeah.
So what we'd like to do is to be able to jump off the runway onto the buffalo grass, use this west short little taxiway thing to get back to because Devon's hangar and also the co-op, Stratton Co-op's access would come off the runway and then jump onto the taxiway, and it would congestion. It would help on congestion too. So what that is we did get a bid on it. It was less than this, but about $7,500, which we would have to pay for 100%. So we've got the funds for that through the Capital Improvement Fund. So We would ask for approval to do that short taxiway. The long taxiway is a 90/10, and the ramp lighting is already approved. So we'd ask for approval on those items, please.
John, I see no problem with it.
And that's already in your budget, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it then.
And I did check, just so you know, I checked with Dolores, and in the capital improvement fund, as of a couple of days before December 1, was $167,000 in there.
You
So-
need to ask to get that rolled over.
Yes, we do. Yep. So we've got the funds in there. We've tried to do a really good job of managing the money, getting what needed to be done, and still have the money available. The thing that really helped us was this,
COVID.
the COVID money really, really helped us. So,
So, the one project, 7,500,
yes,
and then the other one was.
okay, that was
17.
175,000 for the long taxiway. So,
But
so
your
that
share
would
would
be,
be 75.
yeah, it'd be 17,500, and then the lighting would be
7,500.
1,750, and then 7,500 for that short taxiway.
25.
So we're looking at about
25,000.
$27,000 for the whole project.
I'll make a motion that we go with the 3 projects.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Looks like you're good to go, Dave.
Thank you very much. Okay, number 4, we got a list of things here, but they're
We got
pretty
lunch
easy.
coming up, Dave.
Yeah, I know it. Okay, for then on our 10-year plan, they used to call it a 3 or a 5-year plan. There's a 10-year plan. I'll leave you copies of this. The next item for fiscal year 2022, which starts in October of 2021, is snow removal equipment. So at the board meeting, we voted to go ahead and ask for bids for snow removal equipment. This is something that, and we want to do this when the money is available, and the monies would be available.
October 2021.
That's right, October 2021, because we get $150,000 a year from the FAA because we're in this plan. So then, to be able to do this project, we need to wait until October of 2021.
And I'll say 2022 on this because that's just the FAA's fiscal calendar, yeah.
Who's going to operate the equipment?
That's going to be, we're going to have to, after the whole change thing that's going on, we'll have to get that figured out.
And that's something that we wanted to bring up also while you were here, Dave, is that the operator agreement with Grace Flying Service is up the 31st.
Okay,
And so we're supposed to be revisiting that, and they've made some suggestions and such in regards to that agreement, which I apologize, I didn't get to it until before today, but I will before the end of the year. But just something, that the commission might be contemplating, as you indicated, where Grace is no longer going to be doing this, so how will the snow removal, the mowing, et cetera, how will
Right.
that get done? And who's going to do it, and
That's
how are we going to draft all of this up to
right.
get it in place?
There's going to have to be somebody hired. And of course, I've understood, I've heard, this isn't anything that Robert is going to continue to be the operator manager for another year. So it sounds like that we've got a year to get things done, but we're going to have to get going, get some plans made. And we know this is coming, but because that hasn't formally been presented to you, I don't think, then nothing we can do till we're told.
Well, but the agreement is up, the existing agreement is up on the 31st. And we are supposed to be, the commissioners are supposed to be looking at it after I've reviewed it, as to the proposed changes, which I don't foresee there being an issue with Grace going ahead and continuing with those changes.
Right.
It's just, we need to get on this and start
That's right.
figuring out how this is going to be taken care of in the future, because it is going to happen.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
just a matter of when. How is this going to work in the future? And secondly, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
If you're indicating that someone has to be hired, where are those monies going to be coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
I guess until there's nothing we can really do until we're told, here's the deadline and here's what we've got to have, I mean, we know we've got to have someone inspect the runway, the snow's got to be removed, there's got to be NOTAMs filed, there's got to be mowing done. I mean, it's not just, for us, it's like, it just gets done. Well, it gets done because of the contract Grace has had, and they've done a bang-up job. You've got to give them the utmost credit, because it's worked really smooth, but now we are going to have some changes. So,
Yeah. We know that.
and I guess as soon as we all find out, I would assume that, Robert will probably tell us, but we haven't been told anything, so, anyway.
Well, he's on your commission, isn't he? Surely he'll visit with
No,
you.
no, he's actually not on the commission.
not on the board.
He's a
Just the
airport
airport,
manager, yeah.
So, yeah, he wasn't actually at this last meeting that we had.
Right.
Just Richard. Yeah.
So anyway, what we'd like to do is to ask the commissioners to go ahead and approve letting out bids for the snow removal equipment, which, the way I understand it, well, they've kind of changed it. We used to be able to specify we want a tractor, to pull the mower and to, push snow. Now, the way it's written is, you request a bid for snow removal equipment for your runway. There are a lot of details to go through to bid this. And it could be a truck with a blade on it. It could be a pickup with a blade on it. It could be a tractor. But what we'd like to do is to go ahead and ask for permission to submit for bids. And then at that point in time, then we can have a meeting and vote that, hey, we want to accept one of these bids, come to you, say, this is what we voted on. Is that okay with you? Because we want to make sure we don't want to do anything outside of the, outside the commissioners.
You're gonna get a bid, you're gonna approve it within the commission and come to us and we'll
Yes,
approve it.
yes.
And you don't know whether you want, say, one of the snow blower things or a blade or...
Right, and I think it depends on, it's got to be one, the way I understand it, if it's a tractor, it's going to be a tractor with a loader and one attachment. So probably a snow push or a broom or a snow blower or whatever, whatever everybody.
Whatever
agrees
works
on.
best.
Yeah. And then if it's a truck with a 12-foot blade, or we're not exactly sure, but if we get this to going, we don't want to have the money leave us if it's something we need.
So it's just the next project up that we've always got kind of one in the fire.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Well, I think they're just looking for us to say, yeah, go ahead
Yeah.
with your plan.
We're not buying it right now, we're
Yeah.
just putting it out for bid.
Right.
Well, I would, do you need a motion for that?
I don't think so.
I would suggest do it, yeah, I don't see any harm in
Give
that.
your approval.
Yeah, we just,
Okay,
Okay.
we can go ahead and get that done, and then we'll definitely, like I say, go through the steps for anything to be done.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, the next, we just wanted a couple items here real quick. Every 5 years, we have to hire a consultant, which is Olson Associates is our consultant. And you've seen it probably advertised in the paper, that we had to advertise for applications for a consultant. And actually, that's tomorrow is when that bid is to be opened up. And there isn't a money factor to it. It's so that when we do the government FAA projects, that they handle it. Of course, they're getting money out of it too, but That works into the 90/10.
It's just an engineering firm that.
Right, right. So it's just a process that has to be gone through, so I wanted to kind of tell you that was going on, so when you see that in the paper, you wonder, what the world they doing,
Okay.
so. Then the last thing is the funds that are in the capital improvement fund, and I think we've talked about this in years past, we asked that they would be transferred into the new year, the leftover funds. And I think that was automatic, but we wanted
It's
we wanted to have that on the record. That
We
we're-
hope it's automatic.
Yeah, okay.
It is our intent.
And we're not short. We want you to know that we're not short
That
funds.
helps.
So, anyway, like I say, all's well at the airport. You got anything else, Devin?
No, I think that was basically what we talked about, so.
Good. I'm glad to get that runway open for hospital reasons.
No
more than
kidding.
Yeah, it's already been used.
Does the county shop go up and move the snow, remove it now?
No, Grace's do that.
Grace's do it. We have a-
County shop furnishes the tractor and blade, and then Grace's do that.
Does it kind of set up there through the winter?
I think after they get done like mowing ditches
Mowing.
and so on, then Grace's contact Dave, and Dave gets a
They
tractor.
must put it inside somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they might. They
I think
might.
they may put it in that big, I don't know, metal quantum
Metal
building.
thing,
Yeah.
Because I don't ever notice it setting
Yeah.
out or
Yeah.
anything.
It works really well the way we got things going, and it'll work out. We'll get it figured out. We don't know exactly what, but we'll get it figured out. So.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, thank you guys very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay, I'll go ahead and leave that with you if you want that anyway.
Let's take a quick break.